training video, reacting to student talk about professors. I am the narrator. My name is Nadine. This is our tutor, who is Autumn, and this is Alyssa, who is going to be our student. When working with students in the Writing Centre, you are often faced with ethical issues. It is helpful to think about these issues beforehand, so that you may have a strategy for how best to deal with the situation. So let's look at one in particular, a student frustrated with a professor. For students, writing tasks can sometimes feel overwhelming, and it is common for a student to project their stress on the perceived source, the instructor. In this scenario, you want to remain as objective as possible while still expressing empathy for the student's frustration and exploring productive actions to take. Listen to the following scenario and think about what the tutor could have said differently to keep things positive and productive.
Man, I'm so frustrated.
School can be pretty frustrating. I almost had a nervous breakdown my first semester. It was so bad.
It's his professor. He's driving me crazy. His assignments don't make any sense.
Who's your professor?
Mr. Smith.
Ooh, Mr. Smith. He's challenging. Well, we'll see what we can figure out by reading the assignment. Man, I feel bad for you. Maybe you should look into dropping the class. One of my friends took his class. He had a horrible time. I think he got a C- in the end.
Whoa, rewind. Talking bad about professors isn't going to help anyone. What's important here is to show the student you understand and empathize with them, while still finding a way to keep the session productive. Think of what you can do. Think of solutions. First of all, maybe you can suggest the student seek clarification from the professor, or you can read over the assignment with the student to see if you can figure it out together. Let's look at a more productive way to handle the student's complaint.
Man, I'm so frustrated.
Well, what's frustrating you? What can we do about it?
Well, at this point, the tutor is on the right track. When dealing with student anxiety, it is important to be a calming influence. With that said, talking to the student about nervous breakdowns is no great way to create that influence. Think about what the tutor said in the scenario. What's frustrating you? And what can you do about it? In this response, the focus is on the solution, not the problem.
It's his professor. He's driving me crazy. His assignments never make any sense.
Have you tried to talk to him about it?
Well, no. I mean, he doesn't really seem like the helpful type.
I think it's worth trying. I've had professors in the past, and when I've asked them, they've always been pretty helpful. And if you're having problems, someone else might be having problems, and maybe he'll discuss it with the whole class.
Sounds like a good idea. Maybe I'll email him after this session.
Hopefully you can see how one approach that focuses on solutions can be much more effective than another that focuses on the problem. In the second scenario, you may have noticed the tutor does not ask about who the professor is. In the first scenario, this question led to comments about students' negative experiences with the same professor. This discussion only validates the confusion in a way that is unproductive and off track. While a discussion of a specific professor's style of teaching has potential value, it does not need to be the first approach, as you can see in the second scenario. In this scenario, the tutor asks if the student has sought clarification from the professor and relates her own positive experiences with doing so. Once again, attention is on the positive possible solutions.
Well, good. Do you have the assignment with you? We could look it over and see what we can figure out together.
Yes.
Thank you guys. Cheerio!